Get out! Get out of my helicopter right now, you gold-digging witch! My husband's voice tore through the luxury cabin as we hovered 300 feet above Lagos Marina. His face, twisted with rage I'd never seen in our 12 years of marriage, made my blood freeze. Our pilot, Mr. Taiwo, gripped the controls tighter, his knuckles white with tension. Chidi, what are you talking about? My voice trembled as I clutched the leather seat. The helicopter swayed gently, the city sprawling beneath us like a glittering carpet of lights and chaos. Don't play innocent with me, Amara. He lunged forward and I pressed myself against the window. I know everything. Your father's properties, all 67 of them across Victoria Island, Ikoyi and Lekki, were supposed to be mine. Mine. But you convinced that old fool to put everything in a trust for our children instead. What would you do if your husband said this to you? Hit like if you've ever felt betrayed and comment where you're watching from. My heart hammered against my ribs. My father did what was right. Those properties are for our son's future, for Kalechi and Obina. You're their father. You should be happy our children are secured. Secured? Chidi's laughter was cold, metallic. I've been waiting 12 years for your father to die so I could finally live the life I deserve. Do you think I married you for love? Look at yourself, Amara. You're ordinary, plain, the daughter of a driver who got lucky in real estate. Each word hit like a slap. The man I'd shared my bed with, born children for, suddenly transformed into a stranger wearing my husband's face. Taiwo, land this helicopter at the marina helipad. Now. Chidi's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. Sir, I don't think... I said land it! The helicopter descended rapidly, my stomach lurching. Through the window, I could see the exclusive marina where Nigeria's elite docked their yachts. We'd been flying home from my father's 70th birthday celebration in Abuja, where Papa had announced the trust fund. I'd noticed Chidi's jaw tightening during the speech, but I'd attributed it to stress from his struggling import business. How naive I'd been. The skids touched down with a gentle thud. Before I could unbuckle my seatbelt, Chidi grabbed my Ankara dress, the expensive one I'd commissioned from Mama Ngozi's boutique for Papa's party, and yanked me toward the door. Chidi, please, our sons. Those boys will be fine. Better off without a mother who's nothing but a placeholder. He shoved the door open, the night air rushing in with the smell of salt water and diesel. I've already filed for divorce. My lawyer sent the papers to your father's house this morning. You get nothing. The boys stay with me, and Blessing, beautiful young Blessing, will be moving into our home tomorrow as my wife. The world tilted. Blessing? My cousin Blessing? His smile was cruel. Your 24-year-old cousin has been keeping me company for the past 3 years. She understands what a man needs. She doesn't question me, and unlike you, she knows how to show proper gratitude. You're insane. We're not even divorced yet, and you're talking about marrying my cousin? My father will destroy you. Your father is a dying old man with stage 4 cancer. He'll be gone within 6 months, and when he is, I'll challenge that trust in court. I have connections, Amara, judges who owe me favors. That property will be mine, and those boys will be raised to forget you ever existed. My father had cancer? The room spun. Papa had looked tired at the party, but I thought it was just age. Chidi grabbed my arm, his fingers digging into my flesh. Get out, walk away. If you try to fight me, I'll make sure you never see Kalechi and Obina again. I have evidence of you being an unfit mother. Photos, videos, all fabricated, of course, but very convincing. This is domestic betrayal, infidelity in marriage at its worst, I shouted, my voice breaking. You planned this for 12 long years. He pushed me out of the helicopter. I stumbled onto the tarmac, my high heels catching on the uneven surface. Tell your father his driver's daughter wasn't worth the investment. Tell him that his precious Amara was just a stepping stone to real wealth. The helicopter door slammed shut. Through the window, I saw Chidi pull out his phone, already dialing, probably calling Blessing, probably laughing about how he'd just discarded me like yesterday's newspaper. As the helicopter lifted off, the downdraft whipping my braids around my face, I collapsed onto the tarmac. Around me, marina workers pretended not to notice. This was Lagos, Everyone minded their business, especially when it involved the wealthy and their messy affairs. My phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Auntie Amara, I'm so sorry, but Chidi loves me and he deserves to be happy. The boys will call me Mama soon. Blessing. A photo followed. My sons Kalechi and Obina, 9 and 7 years old, sitting in our living room with Blessing between them. She wore my apron. My children smiled at the camera. I screamed into the night, the sound swallowed by helicopter blades and the indifferent Lego sky. Please like, subscribe, cause my mum say I can't reach 1,000 subscribers. Please subscribe to my channel, let's prove her wrong, and turn on notifications for more gripping stories like this. What do you think happens next? Comment below. I sat in the marina parking lot for 3 hours, shaking, until my childhood friend Nkechi found me. She'd been trying to call since the party ended, worried because I'd left my purse at Papa's house in Abuja. Amara! Oh my God, what happened? Nkechi wrapped her arms around me, her perfume, Chanel No. 5, the one I'd helped her pick out last Christmas, grounding me back to reality. Your dress is torn, your makeup is everywhere. Did you have an accident? The words poured out between sobs. The helicopter, Chidi's rage, the divorce papers, Blessing, my father's cancer, the trust fund, everything. Nkechi's face hardened with each revelation. She'd never liked Chidi, had warned me 12 years ago that something felt wrong about his overeager pursuit. But I'd been young, 23, and flattered that a sophisticated 30-year-old businessman wanted plain Amaro Conquo. That cheating spouse, Nkechi spat. That snake. Come on, we're going to your father's house, right now. I can't face Papa. Not after what Chidi said about him dying. Your father needs to know what that bastard did, and you need to see your sons. Nkechi drove her Mercedes through Lagos traffic like a woman possessed, weaving between Danfo buses and Okadas with precision born from years of navigating the city's chaos. We crossed the third mainland bridge as dawn broke, painting the lagoon gold and pink. My father's estate in Ikoyi sprawled across 2 acres, a testament to his journey from driver to real estate mogul. The security guard, Malam Sul, looked shocked to see me arrive at 6 a.m. in my torn dress. Madam Amara, is everything... Where is my father? In the garden, madam. He's been there since 4 a.m. He couldn't sleep after the party. I found Papa sitting on his favorite bench beneath the mango tree he'd planted when I was born. At 70, he still carried himself with dignity, though Chidi's words echoed in my mind. Stage 4 cancer, 6 months to live. Papa, my voice broke. He turned and his face crumpled when he saw me. Amara, what did that man do to you? I collapsed at his feet, the story tumbling out again. Papa's hands, calloused from years of honest work, trembled as he stroked my hair. I knew, he whispered. I've known for months that Chidi was planning something. Why do you think I created the trust? My investigator found evidence of his affair with Blessing. I found out about his gambling debts, his failed businesses, his plans to sell everything the moment I died. You knew? Why didn't you tell me? Because I am dying, Amara. The doctors give me 4 months, maybe 5. I wanted to secure your future, your son's future, before I confronted him. I thought the trust announcement would make him back off, realize he'd never get his hands on the properties. Instead, I pushed him to act sooner. The emotional manipulation, the years of lies, it all crashed over me. He's taking my sons, Papa. He says he has evidence I'm unfit. Papa's eyes flashed with the steel that had built his empire. Then we fight back. My lawyer, Barrister Okafor, has been preparing for this. Chidi doesn't know that every property transfer, every business dealing, every secret meeting with Blessing has been documented. We have videos of him gambling away millions. We have proof of financial mismanagement. We have witnesses. But the boys are sleeping in the guest house right now with their grandmother. I stared at him. What? When Chidi filed those divorce papers yesterday, he made a mistake. He had them delivered here, thinking he was being clever. What he doesn't know is that I immediately filed an emergency custody order. The court granted it 2 hours ago based on evidence of domestic abuse. Your torn dress and the marina workers' statements will support that. My security team collected your sons from your house at midnight. Blessing was so drunk she didn't even wake up. My father had outmaneuvered Chidi completely. There's more, Papa continued. Chidi's import business? It's built on fraud. He's been underreporting customs duties for years. My contacts at the Nigerian Customs Service have been building a case. They're ready to move. Papa, I just want my children safe. I don't want revenge. This isn't revenge, Amara. This is justice. That man threw you out of a helicopter. He betrayed you with your own cousin. He planned to steal your inheritance and erase you from your sons' lives. Men like Chidi believe women are weak. We're going to show him how wrong he is. The sound of small feet running made us both turn. Kelechi and Obinna burst from the house, still in their pajamas, and threw themselves into my arms. Mama, Grandpa said we're having an adventure. Obinna's 7-year-old enthusiasm made my heart ache. Where's Papa? Kelechi, my serious 9-year-old, studied my face. Why are you crying? Did Papa make you cry again? Again. The word hung in the air. What do you mean again? I asked gently. Kelechi looked at his grandfather, then back at me. Papa shouts at you when you're in your bedroom. We hear it through the walls. He calls you stupid. He says you're lucky he married you. Auntie Blessing laughs. My sons had witnessed my humiliation. The inner conflict of wanting to protect them from the truth while realizing they'd already lived it tore through me. Your Papa and I are having some grown-up problems, I said carefully. But you'll always be safe, always be loved. Are you and Papa getting divorced? Kelechi asked. Tunde at school says his parents got divorced, and now he has 2 houses. We might be, but that means you'll have more people who love you, not less. Papa stood, his presence commanding despite his illness. Boys, go help Mama Sewell make breakfast. Your mother and I need to talk. When they left, Papa pulled me up to face him. Chidi will come for you. He'll try intimidation, threats, maybe violence. You need to be ready. I've hired security. Barrister Okafor will be here in an hour to discuss the divorce proceedings. And in Nkechi, he nodded to my friend who'd been standing quietly in the garden entrance. We'll help you gather evidence from your house. Evidence of what? Everything. His laptop, his phone records, his business documents. Anything that proves his affair, his financial crimes, his plans. We go to court in 3 days for the custody hearing. By then, we'll have built a case so strong that Chidi will have no choice but to surrender. And Blessing, Papa's smile was cold. Your cousin is 24 and foolish. She thinks she's won a prize. Let her discover what kind of man she's really dealing with. When Chidi has nothing left, she'll abandon him like the opportunist she is. My phone buzzed. A message from Chidi. You have 24 hours to return my sons or I'm filing kidnapping charges. Your father's money can't protect you forever. I showed Papa the message. He photographed it with his own phone. Perfect. More evidence of harassment. Amara, this African marriage drama ends now. No more being the submissive wife. No more accepting emotional manipulation. You are the daughter of Iza Okonkwo. You are the mother of my grandsons. You are a woman of substance. It's time to show Chidi and everyone else exactly what that means. As the sun rose fully over Lagos, I felt something shift inside me. The broken woman from the helicopter tarmac was gone. In her place stood someone harder, smarter, and absolutely done with being a victim. Please subscribe, because my mom say I can't reach 1,000 subscribers. Please subscribe to my channel. Let's prove her wrong, and turn on notifications for more gripping stories like this. What do you think happens next? Comment below. The next 72 hours passed in a blur of lawyers, documents, and painful discoveries. Nkechi and I returned to my matrimonial home in Lekki with Papa's security team. 3 serious men who made Chidi's houseboy, Samuel, very nervous. Madam is not here, Samuel stammered when we arrived. Oga said nobody should enter. This is still my house until the divorce is final, I said, pushing past him. If Chidi has a problem, he can call the police. Oh, wait, he won't, because he knows what he did was illegal. The house felt foreign. Everything looked the same. The Italian leather furniture Chidi had insisted on. The crystal chandelier I'd thought was too ostentatious. The family photos that now seemed like lies frozen in frames. But it all belonged to a different life. A different Amara who didn't know her husband had been cheating with her cousin for 3 years. I found Blessing in my bedroom, wearing my silk robe, painting her toenails on my bed. She had the audacity to smile. "Auntie Amara, I heard you had a rough night." The rage that consumed me was white hot. "Get out of my house. It's not your house anymore." Chidi says, "I don't care what Chidi says." My voice echoed through the room. "You're sleeping with my husband in my bed, wearing my clothes, trying to replace me with my children. And you have the nerve to smile." Blessing stood and I saw how young she really was. 24, beautiful in that fresh way young women are, with smooth skin and bright eyes untouched by the reality of what she'd done. "You never appreciated him," she said. "You were always so focused on your father's money, on being the good daughter. Chidi needed someone who saw him for who he really is." "And who is he really, Blessing? A man who throws his wife out of a helicopter? A man who commits fraud and plans to steal from his own children? That's who you want?" Something flickered across her face. Doubt. Maybe fear. "Chidi loves me." "Chidi loves money. The moment he realizes he won't get my father's properties, he'll discard you just like he did me. You're not special. You're just younger and more naive." Nkechi appeared in the doorway with two of the security men. "Amara, we found his laptop. It wasn't even password protected. There's a lot here." Blessing's confidence cracked. "You can't take his things. That's theft." "This is still legally Amara's matrimonial home," Nkechi said coldly. "Everything here is community property until the court says otherwise. Now get out before we call the police for trespassing." Chidi will do nothing. Move." After Blessing fled, we spent hours documenting everything. Chidi's laptop was a goldmine of incrimination. Emails to Blessing detailing their affair and mocking me. Spreadsheets showing how he'd been siphoning money from his business accounts into offshore holdings. WhatsApp messages with associates planning to contest Papa's trust the moment he died. But the worst discovery came from his desk drawer, a file labeled contingency plan. Inside were forged medical reports claiming I had postpartum psychosis after Obina's birth. Statements from people I'd never met saying they'd witnessed me being violent with my children. Photos, clearly doctored, showing me in compromising positions with other men. "This is the evidence he threatened you with," Nkechi whispered. "He was going to destroy your reputation, take your children, and paint you as an unfit mother." The emotional aftermath of seeing how thoroughly Chidi had planned my destruction left me numb. I'd shared my body with this man. I'd nursed his children. I'd believed his lies about loving me. "We need to show this to Barrister Okafor immediately," Nkechi said. But I was staring at another document in the file, a letter addressed to my father, dated 3 months ago, that had never been sent. "Old man, your driver's daughter was easy prey. 12 years I've played the devoted husband while building my own empire. When you die and I control those properties, I'll finally have what I deserve. Amara will be gone, divorced and discredited. Your grandsons will be raised to spit on your memory. Every property you built will be sold off, piece by piece, and I'll live like the king I always should have been. Thanks for the investment in my future." Chidi, the co-parenting conflict he'd planned would have destroyed my son's sense of security, their relationship with their grandfather, their understanding of family, all for money. My phone rang. Papa's name flashed on the screen. "Amara? Chidi just showed up at the gate with 6 thugs. He's demanding I return his sons. My security is holding them back, but he's threatening to break down the gate. I'm coming now. Don't let him in, Papa. We have everything we need to bury him in court." We raced back to Ikoyi, Lagos traffic parting before Papa's security convoy like the Red Sea. When we arrived, the scene was chaos. Chidi and his hired thugs were shouting at the security guards while neighborhood residents watched from their own gates. Phones recording everything. "Amara!" Chidi screamed when he saw me. "You kidnapped my sons. You turned your father against me. This is all your fault." I stepped out of the car, Nkechi beside me, holding a folder with all the evidence we'd collected. "Your sons are safe from you, Chidi. That's all that matters." "Safe? You poisoned them against me. Your father poisoned them. I have rights. You have no rights. Papa's voice boomed from the gate intercom. You have crimes. You have lies. You have debts. But you have no rights to my grandsons. Chidi lunged toward the gate, and Papa's security guards moved to intercept. One of the thugs pulled out a machete, and suddenly the crowd scattered, screaming. You want war, old man? Chidi shouted. I'll burn this house down. I'll kill all of you. The public disgrace of threatening violence in broad daylight in front of Ikoi's elite residence would be his downfall. Every phone camera captured his rage, his threats, his complete loss of control. Police sirens wailed in the distance. Someone had called them. Chidi realized his mistake too late. As officers poured out of 3 patrol vehicles, he tried to run. His thugs scattered, but Chidi was grabbed by a senior officer who seemed to know my father personally. Mr. Chidi Okafor, the officer said formally, you're under arrest for making terrorist threats, attempted breaking and entering, and we have a warrant for customs fraud. You have the right to... This is a setup. Her father paid you off. Amara, tell them this is a misunderstanding. I looked at the man I'd married 12 years ago. The man who'd smiled at me on our wedding day while secretly planning to use me as a stepping stone. The man who'd kicked me out of a helicopter like I was garbage. I don't know you, I said quietly. I thought I did, but I never really knew you at all. As police led Chidi away, Blessing appeared from somewhere in the crowd. She ran toward him, crying, saying she'd get him a lawyer, that they'd fight this together. He shoved her away. Get away from me, you stupid girl. This is all your fault. If you hadn't been so careless with those text messages... Even in his downfall, Chidi blamed everyone but himself. That night, Papa, my sons, Nkechi and I sat in the garden where this had all begun. The boys were quiet, processing what they'd witnessed. Is Papa going to jail? Obina asked. Yes, baby, for a while. Good, Kelechi said firmly. He was mean to you. We don't want a mean Papa. My father pulled both boys close. You'll always have me. And when I'm gone, you'll have these properties, this legacy, and the memory of your great-grandfather who started with nothing and built everything. Later, when the boys were asleep, Papa showed me his medical reports. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. 3 months, maybe 4. Not the 6 Chidi had claimed. I'm sorry, Papa, for bringing Chidi into our family, for not seeing. You loved honestly. He loved dishonestly. That's not your fault, Amara. Never your fault. Please subscribe, cause my mom say I can't reach 1,000 subscribers. Please subscribe to my channel. Let's prove her wrong and turn on notifications for more gripping stories like this. What do you think happens next? Comment below. The divorce proceedings began 3 weeks later in Lagos High Court. Barrister Okafor, a 60-year-old woman who'd been practicing law for 35 years, had built our case with surgical precision. Chidi sat across the courtroom in an orange prison jumpsuit, flanked by 2 guards. His lawyer, a young man who looked increasingly uncomfortable, kept whispering urgent consultations. Your Honor, Barrister Okafor began, this is not simply a divorce case. This is a case about a man who systematically planned to defraud his wife's family, abuse his position as husband and father, and destroy an innocent woman's reputation through fabricated evidence. I have documents, recordings, and witness testimony that will prove Mr. Chidi Okafor married my client solely for financial gain. She presented everything: the emails, the forged documents, the unsent letter to Papa, the affair with Blessing, the customs fraud, the offshore accounts where he'd hidden money stolen from his own business partners. With each piece of evidence, Chidi's face grew paler. His lawyer objected repeatedly, but the judge, Justice Adeyemi, a stern woman in her 50s, overruled most of them. The evidence is admissible, Justice Adeyemi said. Continue, Barrister Okafor. Then Nkechi took the stand. She described finding me on the marina tarmac, my torn dress, my trauma. She played video from her phone showing my condition that night. Samuel, our former houseboy, testified next. Oga Chidi used to boast to me about his plan, Samuel said quietly. He said Madame Amara was stupid, that her father's wealth would make him rich. He said once Papa Ease died, he would sell everything and move to Dubai with Miss Blessing. Did you witness the affair between Mr. Cheedy and Miss Blessing? Barrister Okafor asked. Yes, Ma, many times. Even when the children were home, Olga would send the boys to their room and bring Miss Blessing to the master bedroom. Sometimes I heard Madame Amara crying in the guest room. I hadn't known Samuel heard me crying. The shame washed over me fresh. Then came the marina workers. Two of them testified about that night, how Cheedy had forced me out of the helicopter, how he'd shouted about the properties, how he'd laughed as he flew away, leaving me on the tarmac. Your Honor, Barrister Okafor said, I also have testimony from Mr. Okafor's business associates. They're willing to testify that he approached them about contesting the Okonkwo family trust. He had already lined up lawyers willing to file fraudulent claims about my client's father's mental state when creating the trust. Cheedy's lawyer finally stood. Your Honor, my client admits to infidelity and poor judgment, but the criminal charges regarding customs fraud are separate from this divorce proceeding. We believe this is a coordinated attack by a wealthy family seeking revenge. Revenge, Justice Adeyemi's voice cut like glass. Mr. Okafor threw his wife out of a helicopter. He created forged documents to make her appear mentally ill. He stole from his business partners. He threatened violence against his father-in-law. This isn't revenge. This is justice. The financial revenge Papa had planned was unfolding perfectly. Every business connection Cheedy had cultivated was now testifying against him. Every favor he thought he was owed was being called back in my favor. But it was the testimony from the boys that broke the courtroom. Justice Adeyemi had ordered a private session with Kelechi and Obinna, with a child psychologist present. The video was played in court. Did your papa ever hurt your mama? The psychologist asked gently. Kelechi nodded. Not with his hands, but with words. He called her stupid. He said she was ugly. He said Grandpa only loved her because she was his only child. He made her cry a lot. Did you like Auntie Blessing staying at your house? No, Obinna said firmly. She wasn't nice. She pretended to be nice when Papa was there. But when he left, she said we were spoiled and that Grandpa's money made us soft. She said when Grandpa died, Papa would make us tough. Do you want to live with your Papa? Both boys shook their heads. We want to stay with Mama and Grandpa, Kelechi said. Papa scares us now. The courtroom was silent when the video ended. Even Cheedy looked shaken. Justice Adeyemi turned to him. Mr. Okafor, you have traumatized your children, betrayed your wife, and attempted to defraud your father-in-law. This court grants Mrs. Amara Okafor full custody of the minor children. You will have supervised visitation once per month, pending completion of anger management and parenting courses. The divorce is granted on grounds of adultery and abuse. Your Honor, Cheedy started, I'm not finished. Regarding the division of assets, all properties and accounts held jointly with Mrs. Okafor shall be divided 70-30 in her favor, given your fraudulent behavior during the marriage. Your business, such as it is, remains yours, along with all associated debts and legal troubles. The Okonkwo family trust remains untouched, as it was never legally yours to contest. Cheedy exploded. This is robbery. You're all corrupt. The old man paid you off. I'll appeal. Mr. Okafor, you're in contempt of court. Guards, remove him. As they dragged Cheedy from the courtroom, he screamed obscenities about my father, about me, about the justice system. But his words bounced off me like rain off stone. I'd already grieved the man I thought I'd married. This raging stranger was someone else entirely. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed us. Papa's case had become national news. The helicopter incident, the customs fraud, the family drama. Lagos loved a scandal involving the wealthy. Mrs. Okafor, how do you feel about the verdict? Relieved. My sons are safe. That's all that matters. Do you have a message for women in similar situations? I paused, looking directly at the cameras. Don't accept domestic betrayal as your fate. Don't let emotional manipulation convince you that you're worthless. Don't let anyone, husband, cousin, or stranger, steal your dignity. Fight back, get help, and never ever believe that love means accepting abuse. The reporters erupted with more questions, but Barrister Okafor ushered us into Papa's Mercedes. As we drove away, I saw Blessing on the courthouse steps, crying. surrounded by reporters asking her about the affair. She's learning the hard way, Nkechi said. Being the other woman isn't the victory she thought it would be. I don't hate her anymore, I said, surprising myself. She's young and foolish. Chidi used her just like he used me. The difference is, I got out. That night, Papa called a family meeting in his study. My uncles, aunts, and cousins, except Blessing, gathered to hear his announcement. I'm putting new measures in place for the trust, Papa said. Amara will be the primary trustee. When I'm gone, she'll control everything. Not because she's my only child, but because she's proven she has the strength and wisdom to protect our family's legacy. My uncles nodded approvingly. My aunt smiled. Even Blessing's mother, my Auntie Chioma, looked ashamed. I'm sorry about my daughter, Auntie Chioma said to me afterward. I raised her better than this. I don't know where I failed. You didn't fail. Blessing made her choices. Now she lives with them. Later I found Papa in the garden again, his favorite place. He looked frailer than 3 weeks ago, the cancer eating away at him faster than anyone expected. Thank you, Papa, for everything, for protecting me, for fighting when I couldn't fight for myself. You were always a fighter, Amara. You just needed to remember it. Your mother, God rest her soul, was the same way. Quiet strength. That's the Okonkwo way. I wish she was here. She is. Every time you protect those boys, every time you stand up for yourself, she's there. We sat in comfortable silence, watching the sun set over Lagos. Please like, subscribe, because my mom say I can't reach 1,000 subscribers. Please subscribe to my channel. Let's prove her wrong, and turn on notifications for more gripping stories like this. What do you think happens next? Comment below. 6 months later, I stood at Papa's graveside in Ikoyi Cemetery, my sons holding my hands as we said our final goodbyes. He'd lasted longer than the doctors predicted, fighting to see Kelechi's 10th birthday, to see me truly stand on my own feet. The funeral was massive. Politicians, business leaders, families whose lives Papa had touched through his generosity. Even some of Chidi's former associates came, paying respects to a man they'd betrayed but secretly admired. Blessing showed up, standing at the back in black, her face gaunt and tired. She tried to approach me after the ceremony. Auntie Amara, I'm so sorry. About everything. About Uncle E's dying. About what I did to you. I studied her. 6 months had aged her. The brightness was gone from her eyes, replaced by hard lessons learned too young. Chidi left me, she continued. As soon as he got out on bail, he found another woman with money. An older woman in Abuja who owns a construction company. He's already moved in with her. I heard he's telling people I was just a phase, that he never really loved me. He probably didn't, I said gently. He doesn't know how to love. Only how to use people. I destroyed your marriage for nothing. I destroyed my relationship with my family for a man who never cared about me. I'm so stupid. You're not stupid. You're young, and you made terrible choices. The question is, what will you do now? Blessing wiped her eyes. I'm going back to school, finishing my degree. My mother said if I work hard, she'll forgive me eventually. I don't expect you to forgive me. I forgive you, Blessing, not because you deserve it, but because I refuse to carry hate in my heart anymore. But forgiveness doesn't mean trust. It doesn't mean friendship. It means I'm letting go of what you did so I can move forward. She nodded, tears streaming down her face, and walked away. 3 months after Papa's death, I received notice that Chidi was being extradited to face additional charges. His fraud had crossed international borders, involving fake shipping documents and unpaid taxes in multiple countries. He'd be in prison for at least 15 years. His new girlfriend had pressed charges too, claiming he'd forged her signature on loan documents. Chidi's pattern repeated itself, but this time his victim fought back immediately. Mama, is Papa ever coming back? Obina asked one evening as we ate dinner in our new home. A beautiful property from the trust, smaller than the Lecky house, but warm, filled with light and laughter. He'll be away for a very long time, baby, but you'll still see him sometimes if you want to. I don't want to, Kelechi said firmly. He's not a good person. Grandpa E's taught us that good people don't hurt the ones they love. People are complicated, I said. Your papa has done bad things, but he's still your father. When you're older, You can decide what relationship you want with him. The doorbell rang, and Keiichi appeared with her new boyfriend, Emeka, a kind architect who treated her like a queen. Behind them was a surprise. My new lawyer had sent over final documents. Amara, the trust is fully yours, Barrister Okafor had written. Your father's properties are now valued at over 400 million naira, thanks to the new development projects you've approved. You're not just surviving, you're thriving. I had been working with Papa's old team, learning the real estate business, using the properties not just as income sources, but as tools for community development. We'd converted 3 buildings into affordable housing for young families. We'd created a scholarship fund for children of drivers, honoring Papa's roots. The poetic justice of it all wasn't lost on me. Chidi had married me for these properties, had thrown me from a helicopter thinking they'd be his. Instead, I'd become the guardian of a legacy he could never touch, building something meaningful from Papa's foundation. There's something else, Nkechi said, grinning. She handed me an envelope. Inside was a check from a publisher. They wanted to buy the rights to my story for a book about African women overcoming domestic abuse. They're calling it The Helicopter Wife, Nkechi laughed. You're going to be famous. I don't want to be famous. I just want my son safe and happy. You can have both. Your story will help other women. Women who think they're trapped, who believe they have no options. You'll show them they can fight back and win. That night, after tucking Kelechi and Obinna into bed, I stood on my balcony looking out over Lagos. The city glittered below, chaotic and beautiful, full of stories like mine. My phone buzzed. An email from Chidi, sent from prison. Amara, I know I have no right to ask for anything. I destroyed everything good in my life because I was too greedy to see what I had. You were a good wife, a good mother. I was a fool. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that I've had a lot of time to think about the helicopter, about blessing, about everything I threw away. You won. Not because of the properties or the court case, but because you kept your humanity. You protected our sons. You built something meaningful from the pain I caused. I hope our boys grow up to be nothing like me and everything like your father. Chidi, I read it twice, then deleted it. Some conversations didn't deserve responses. A year after Papa's death, I stood in a new development named Ezi Okonkwo Gardens. Affordable housing for 50 families, built on one of Papa's properties. Kelechi and Obinna cut the ribbon as residents cheered. A journalist approached me. Mrs. Okafor, after everything you've been through, the helicopter incident, the divorce, your father's death, what keeps you going? I looked at my sons, laughing as children from the new development played football in the courtyard. I thought about Papa, about his journey from driver to mogul, about how he taught me that real wealth isn't money, but legacy. My sons, I said simply, and the responsibility to show them that when life throws you from a helicopter, you land on your feet and keep walking. You build something better. You help others climb higher. That's the real victory, the journalist smiled. That's beautiful. Your father would be proud. He is, I said, looking up at the Lagos sky, imagining Papa watching from somewhere beyond the clouds. I know he is. That evening, as the sun set over Lagos, I received a message from an unknown number. Dear Mrs. Okafor, I saw your interview about Ezi Okonkwo Gardens. My husband threw me out of our house last week with nothing. I have 3 children and nowhere to go. Your story gave me hope. Please, can you help? I stared at the message for a long moment, then typed my response. Come to my office tomorrow at 10 a.m. Bring your children. We'll figure this out together. You're not alone anymore. Because that's what Papa's legacy really meant. Not the properties or the money, but the power to lift others up when the world pushed them down. The power to turn betrayal into strength, pain into purpose, and victims into victors. Chidi had wanted to steal my father's empire. Instead, I'd used it to build something he could never understand. A community of women who refused to stay down, who fought back against cheating spouses and domestic betrayal, who transformed their African marriage drama into stories of resilience and hope. The helicopter had been meant to destroy me. Instead, it had launched me into my destiny. As I put my sons to bed that night, Kelechi asked one final question. Mama, do you ever miss Papa? The old Papa. Before we knew he was mean? I thought about it honestly. I miss who I thought he was, but I don't miss the lies. And I'm grateful for the truth, because the truth gave me my power back. We're proud of you, Mama, Obina said sleepily. Grandpa Ease would be proud too. Thank you, baby. Now sleep. Tomorrow we're visiting the new scholarship students, the children whose school fees we're paying. As my sons drifted off, I stood by their window looking out at Lagos. Somewhere in this city, Chidi sat in a prison cell, surrounded by the consequences of his choices. Somewhere else, Blessing struggled to rebuild the life she'd destroyed. And somewhere beyond the lights, Papa's legacy continued growing, touching lives he'd never know about. I was no longer the woman thrown from a helicopter. I was the woman who'd landed, stood up, and built an empire of hope on the foundation of pain. I was my father's daughter. I was my son's mother. I was enough. And that was the sweetest revenge of all. Please subscribe, because my mom say I can't reach 1,000 subscribers. Please subscribe to my channel, let's prove her wrong, and turn on notifications for more gripping stories like this. What's your biggest takeaway from Amara's journey? Comment below.